I think Oberstein's aiming for equality amongst the people. And that, Mittenmeyer and Ruenthal here should be treated the same as Kirchheis because they're just as good as Kirchheis is. But they're not his childhood friends, so they're not being treated the same as Kirchheis is. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Legend of the Galactic Heroes. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board, so let's go ahead and look at that board first thing. Where the board changelog is that I've added Baron von Scheidt, connected him with a blue line to Braunschweig, then marked him as dead. I marked Flegel and Braunschweig as dead. I marked Leopold, Meerkat, and Schneider as defecting. Then I marked Lynch and Greenhill as dead.
Not a lot of changes, really.
I mean, quite a few changes. In fact, some major changes.
Yeah, but we have had situations where we had far more people die in one go, etc.
Well, you're weighing the importance of quantity over quality.
Yeah, Lynch died like he lived, like a bitch,
saving the honor of others.
I mean, it was constant. It was no, he didn't live to save other people's honors. He lived to try to save his own.
One, he was trying to save the people of Alpha Seals, not the same way that Yang
That's
was.
What he claims. That's what he claims.
I've already defended that position. I believe that is true.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I've also, I don't care, Lessons. We've already had that argument. There's no reason to bring it back up. If you want that argument, go back to the episode we had it in.
Yeah.
And again, the element of getting into a shootout with Greenhill was legitimately saving that man's honor, in that they can't push him on the aspect of, was this the Empire's doing? All the blame then falls to Lynch on that respect, and Lynch already says, I don't fucking care. I've shaken you to your values, and the weakest of you have killed yourselves. I believe at the end of the day, he respected Greenhill, and he gave Greenhill an out, which was obviously death. And even Greenhill says, I'm going to choose a third way, which I would have assumed that had Lynch... I mean, I don't know if Greenhill was actually trying to get himself killed by Lynch, but because I assumed the third way would have been shooting himself like everybody else did.
I think that he did it for the lulz, and he was like, he said it like, in spite of himself, he saved his Greenhill. I don't think that was his intention at all.
Well, I disagree with you. Let's move on. There's other things I feel like we're going to argue about in this note section that might be worth longer.
Well, let's get to notes then. Episode 23, The Fall of the Golden Bombs. Or the Golden Bomb. Single.
I guess also it's clarification. That's where your notes come from. You're the one that breaks up your notes per episode. I do not. My notes will come from anywhere. But it always seems weird to me that you come up with this framing device. Okay, we're going to talk about this episode. You will. My notes will be from any fucking place.
So nuclear weapons has been restricted since the 13-day war nearly wiped out humanity. I would hazard to guess this happened on Earth for one nuclear exchange to wipe out humanity at the time. So everybody was on Earth at the time. It may also explain the ruins we saw in an earlier episode.
Sorry, we just got done recording Mao Shi, and you threw a pandemic. You threw a pandemic. You threw a pedantic note at me. It wasn't just 200 people. Now that part of my brain is triggering. Like, well, not everybody was on Earth. Assumedly, there was still space station and whatnot.
But we don't know when it happened, so...
No. Well, I'm assuming it happened at some point during the space race. Or after. In which case, there was still, an ISS or something.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be enough population.
Lessons, this was a joke about being pedantic, and now you're arguing it like it's a true argument. What are you doing, man? I was just making a slight joke.
Okay.
That you're still wrong about it. Moving on. A follow-up thought, because obviously I wrote a note also about the 13-day war, which you thought was 30-second war back in the recording. So, 13-day war that made use of the nukes on a planet taboo, and almost exterminated the human race. Interesting that they say taboo and not outlawed or anything. Kind of reminds me of World War III in Star Trek, in that it phases out human history as we know it, and eventually gives rise to a federation.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty common to what's called future history, right? A sort of common history that was developed in the late 20th century about the future, right? No matter who the writer was like, oh, this happens and this happens, and one of them is, oh, and there was a World War III or 30-day
You
war,
need an
nuclear
establishing
exchange.
point on which to rewrite history so that you
Yeah,
don't have to incorporate everything that's happening from a moment in time.
and in this
It's a
part
it's
is
a
like, oh,
slate cleaner.
fusion power was developing, and they went to Mars, whatever. So it becomes a very, it's a trope in itself. Like future history is a trope where many a writer has said, okay, this is how it's going to go, and then some point in the future, something happens that enters into our story, right?
I'm just equating it
Also,
to Star Trek because Star Trek would have been just the fucking word. Sometimes words just
mhm,
escape me the moment I was thinking
contemporary,
congruent with it.
congruent, yeah. But there are many, 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 many stories that use
I'm saying this was
future
70s or
history.
80s, so Star Trek would already been in rerun at this point.
Yeah.
It
Well, the
certainly would have
movies in
made it
the
to
80s.
Japan.
Well, the movies certainly were in the 1880s. So
Right, but the movies come off of the reruns of the original series. The original series
yeah.
runs for a number of years, and then it's played in syndication, and then obviously it would have made its way overseas to Japan by that time.
Uh, I just as a simple note, goddamn snitch. But then I realized that
But
that guy
without it,
was
Harry
had
Potter wouldn't have won the cup.
yeah. Uh, and
These
so,
my
but
jokes
there's a
sometimes
reason
really
why I
have to
put
go
that.
with people having multiple fandoms.
Uh, and I'll put another note that I wrote later on. So the infiltrator was also the snitch, the same character, which kind of fits the profile of trying to divide and conquer, right? Put them in fighting against each other.
That was the plan the whole time.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Oberstein's one.
My guy's plan, yeah. All right, well, finally getting to my first note because I'm not going to respond to my other notes connected to that one since you just did two in a row. Okay, in opposition to what I thought, the rebels. So I got to differentiate. When I do this, I'm talking about the Lipstadt Accord or whatever the fuck it was, rebels, and not the your side rebels. The rebels were somehow still exerting control over other planets despite having been pushed back to Geiersburg Fortress. I know that before they had a map of strongholds that they intended to hold in order to weaken Reinhardt's forces into the belief that he'd have to pass through all of them on the way to Geiersburg, but that was defeated immediately, and they were pressed back all the way via a combination of what we saw on screen and Kerchase's off-screen victories. I have to assume then that the exploitation is being done by ground forces loyal to the rebels that have yet to be dealt with by the forces seeking control of space, i.e., the fleet combat that has yet to extend towards ground liberation.
Yeah, I mean, if you still have transports available, you can still exploit the people. It's space is big, and
Well,
there
no,
seems to
again,
be a lot of
what I'm
problems.
indicating though is that
Yeah,
what's left on the ground is still left on the ground.
yeah,
That the fleets are exerting control over space, but they haven't done any ground liberation yet, so the forces of the nobles on the planet are still exerting their control.
yeah, yeah. So on to my next note then. I know that you're not going to approve of this, but I got to say it anyway. Can't you trust a man that lies to your face and commits acts in secrecy that involves the lives of millions? A man so casually uses their deaths to gain political points? And what would happen if word got out of this massacre could have been avoided?
I think what has to happen now is, by needs be, not going to respond with your comments with my comments, because my comments are so self-involved that I don't think it would make sense to answer your question directly with what I've written previously. So I guess just off the cuff, yes would be my answer. Obviously, you said I would disagree, but your point was a question. You didn't come up with a answer on your own. Your answer was implied, obviously, but the tone of the question. But the question still remains: can you? And I would say yes, because something that's going to come up in my notes later: plausible deniability. Having somebody that will lie to you about stuff with your best interests in mind can give you the ability to do things that you would otherwise not be able to do had you known. What was I? Something I was watching, or maybe I was listening to recently. There's things. Oh, Yes Minister. Have you ever watched Yes Minister?
Yes.
Yeah, things that the Prime Minister shouldn't know. Oh, I should know everything. I'm the Prime Minister. You're benefited by not knowing things, and you have to trust me to know the things that you shouldn't know I need to keep away from you.
Yeah, except that
I mean,
those
that's a
things
joke
are
on
the things that
bureaucracy and whatnot. I understand, but the element still plays that if you don't know about it, you can't be blamed for it. And if I manipulate things just the right way, this can turn out to your benefit. And I know you're leaning more on what the scope, scale, and cost of such a thing was, and a person could go behind your back to do that. I already argued in the reaction that everything plans out exactly as planned and perfectly. So ultimately, this man was brought on board for this. I'm going to do the dark, dirty stuff that Kurt Chase isn't going to be able to, and you're going to hold me in the same respect that you hold Kurt Chase to. So, yes, I think you need somebody like Oberstein when you're in Reinhardt's position. It can't play the game of Empire without getting your hands dirty. And this Oberstein allows you to do that without getting your hands dirty. Because sometimes you don't even know you're getting your hands dirty.
I think that's the problem is playing the game of Empire at all.
Well, unfortunately, the Empire already exists. We're playing the game of Empire whether we like it or not. Now, I'm not getting into an argument about Empire. And I do have a full comment about Oberstein, but we'll get to that when I get to that. I've got a bunch of shorter, funnier comments to get to before we get into serious shit. Kind of ironic that in the Alliance, where democracy rules, it's the leadership cracking down on the citizens, and in the Empire, which is a empire, it's the commoners rising up against the nobles.
I mean, it's action reaction. For the longest of time, the Empire had been repressing its citizens up to the point that, became a matter of do or die, essentially, right? It's the citizens rose up because they were not giving a choice, right? As long as you're giving a choice, people are willing to normalize everything. Oh, yes, we're being oppressed, but if we obey and we keep our heads down, it's fine. But the moment they started nuking planets, right, or they were giving another option, a viable option in the form of Reinhard, they're like, okay, let's take it, right? Wherein in the alliance, I'm not justifying the alliance, just explaining what's happening. They're they're telling themselves that they're doing this in order to save the institution because it has fallen to corruption, right? So they have to cleanse it. The problem is that their methods and their targets ultimately, their willingness to kill civilians by the tens of thousands, as well as fight each other and weaken each other, kind of defeats the purpose, right? They're literally shooting themselves in the head at the very end, right? Well, those who chose to do that, right? Or shooting themselves in the foot. And so it's like, oh, in order to save a thing, like I said in an earlier note, in order to save the village, you burn the village. Well, that's an oxymoron, right? Because there's no village to save if it's
Also
burnt
argued
down,
against
right?
that. I think you said
Yeah,
that
because
not in a note. I think you said that in a reaction.
and you say, well, saving the nation. True,
No,
we can
you
make some
said saving a
sacrifice.
nation. I made the argument that saving the village is saving the people and not the physical.
Yeah, but
I think it
people
also
without.
aligns to an episode of Gundam Wing that we reacted to, where literally they saved the people of the village and they got the people out of the village, even though the village was destroyed. In which case, we literally did destroy the village to save the people.
Well, it was the
I'm not
enemy who
getting back
destroyed
into
them.
that argument lesson. Again, I think I covered everything when I said kind of ironic. I think we all understood
Yeah.
the nuance. You just decided to go professor level. Let me explain to you what the exact nuance is of the situation. It's like, yeah, I think we all understood that people rise up against the people in power. And in this case, it's just the opposite directions because we represent different things. That's the yin yang of the situation. And I don't mean yang is in the person. I mean yang is in the dichotomy of Taoism.
Yes. Before, I predict that Oberstein will have Kirchheis killed in the future since he can't risk worried about Reinhardt's failure to stop the attack from getting out, and he can't risk Reinhardt overruling him over pesky moral reasons like the massacre of millions.
Oh, I mean, in the episode, I said the opposite. I said my guy isn't long for this world. I feel like Oberstein is the one that's going to die. I don't think it's going to be you're saying that Oberstein's going to rise up against Reinhardt. I think
No, he's
Oberstein's
going to
going to
have him
die
quietly
because he's going to
killed.
continue to do this stuff, and this stuff is going to backfire on him eventually.
No, I think he's going to have him quietly killed. That's what.
That's what I just said.
No. Okay.
You're saying you're just going to have him killed, and I said rise up, and now you're getting pedantic about the term rise up. I'm just saying, you're saying he's going to get him killed. I'm saying, no, I don't believe that's going to be the case. I believe Oberstein's either going to get himself killed or someone more fanatic about Reinhardt is going to kill Oberstein. That asshole Flegel grinning in the background of the shot where Bernschweig is saying he can do whatever he wants with his territory, even nuking it to kill everyone.
Interesting you bring Flegel because my next quote is about Flegel. Player got what he deserved. I wish he had gotten kicked out of an airlock without a suit, but I guess we can't have everything. He got shot by his
No,
subordinates.
I know. I just wasn't that happen? I just thought that was in the next episode, and I was remembering, no, it doesn't. Although that's further on in the episode, so I'm surprised you have a note about that so early. Unless you're already done with all the...
I have only 2 notes left from this episode. So
wow, yeah. I've got paragraphs. I started with the lighthearted, isn't this ironic? And that asshole smiling in the background. All right. Funny that we just hand wave that we snuck someone onto Geiersberg Fortress as an excuse as to how we know Braunschweig's plot. Remember that sneaking people into a fortress is how the Alliance got hold of Iserlohn. Sneaking into places is kind of a big deal. And not for nothing, this place is isolated as far as we know. I'm interested in how they managed it. Not that we'll ever know, considering that without it, Oberstein wouldn't have had the information he gathered, which would, with which to have the dilemma with Reinhard about. It makes for a very important set piece to not explain, given the obvious wedge this will inevitably cause between the two characters. In the end, they did show us who the infiltrator was, but unfortunately, I've seen so many faces that I may have gone face blind. He's just another in a long line of black-haired, chisel-chin men of the Empire. I'm sure we saw him before all of this. I just cannot place him.
Well, like I said earlier in my 2 notes that I read back to back, he's a snitch who
shut the fuck up. I know you think I'm a fucking idiot. I know he's the snitch. No. I know he's the goddamn snitch. I told you I had a note about him. I'm saying that we may have seen him in Gaiden, or we saw him earlier in the season.
Probably.
He looks very familiar, but everyone in the Empire is the dimple-chinned, chisel-jawed, black-haired, supermodel. So it's just like, I can't fucking place him. And sometimes when I know who I'm looking for in this 160 image board, I can't find them. So it would be a fool's errand to try and go searching for this guy based on one face. So I'm telling you, the audience, that guy looks really familiar. And if somebody in the comment section says, oh, that's this guy from this episode of Gaiden that you guys saw, blah, 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 all the better. But he looks very familiar, cannot place him.
To my next note, then. As the execution go, it was clearer than most, but that doesn't mean that the opposition against Reinhard within the Empire is gone. Simply that while weakened, it will go underground.
I don't think it was cleaner than most.
Talking about...
it was literally as clean as the previous execution as we saw, which is not that clean at all.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't see Avlesser's execution. Oh, I guess we did see it, but that was an execution. That was in the moment. I mean, it was in the form of, but the previous execution that was really an execution was what's her name's. God, I always forget her name the moment I need it. The one who was also poisoned.
Yeah.
Literally in it the exact same manner. Like, legitimately, drink it, no, hold her down, pour it down her throat. Literally exactly what happens here. So you're saying clean. Not clean at all, really. They had to struggle and choke on it before it happened.
Benemunde died the same way. Well,
what I just said.
Braunschweig, yeah. Just reminding people who we're talking about.
I would hope that they would know. Otherwise, they're getting into a very confusing episode to just jump into. Threw a dart at a wall. Episode, whatever we're on. That's the one. That's the one I'm going to jump in on.
1E3.
This is not a jump-in show.
And my final note.
Well, hold on there, guy. You just read a note.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know you're in a rush to power through your whole note section, but I still got paragraphs. In Oberstein's defense, he could have also just sat on the information and let everything play out exactly as it did anyways, firm in the knowledge that by not sharing it, he would be improving Reinhardt's position in the Empire and firmly siding everyone with his faction. I suppose you could even say that doing so would have provided Reinhardt with some plausible deniability, in that legitimately he wouldn't have known about it. Oberstein sharing it with him, as well as his plan to allow it to happen anyways, could be seen as his faith in Reinhardt to do what was necessary for the greater good and further achievement of their plans. I see no other reason that he would have shared that information, considering what he was willing to do behind Reinhardt's back, other than the belief that he would understand that what was needed to be done. It was how he was introduced, after all, the left hand willing to do what was necessary to his right-handed Kirchheis, who had a line in the sand he wasn't willing to cross.
I mean, I could see the scenario where you simply see the ship arriving, taking the pictures of the planet being destroyed. It's like, yeah, we're sending recon ships to all these locations, and one of them just happens to have picked up
I'm
this.
not addressing
This
the
thing.
element of that. I've got that in another note. I'm addressing the element of why would he tell Reinhardt at all? If he was already, as you were saying before in your attack on Oberstein, if he's going to go behind Reinhardt's back to the point where you think he'll get Reinhardt off at some point, why would he tell Reinhardt at all? If he could just, that's interesting, and then let things play out, why would he tell Reinhardt? He could sit on that, and nobody would ever know, because apparently it's his man on the inside. The snitch is his guy. So I believe that the only reason he would tell Reinhardt is that he believes in Reinhardt, that he thinks Reinhardt will make the right decision, and he is making Reinhardt aware of everything that's going on.
I mean, he wants to push him into the dark side, basically.
No. Obviously, that's why he does it without Reinhardt's knowledge. The plausible deniability still exists in that he creates a situation where Reinhardt is then not responsible for what happens. It becomes a matter of things didn't happen in time. That Reinhardt was still setting up to defend the planet, but they accelerated their timetable. So if he was trying to push Reinhardt
Yeah, but
if he was trying to push Reinhardt into darkness, he would still create the situation where Reinhardt is responsible, so that everyone knows, don't fuck with Reinhardt, because this is what will happen to you. That's not what happened.
Except that Reinhardt sees through Oberstein's lies when he said, "Oh, it's going to take 6 hours."
You're saying that, for me, that
hours.
falls into the same category of Yang identifying the infiltration. There's no reason that he didn't lie, in fact. As far as we know, Oberstein's information is 100% correct.
Except that we know that he sent the ship earlier to capture.
That doesn't mean that his information is incorrect. He could send the information. Remember, sorry, I'm not going to. I think you're wrong. I believe I have like 4 more paragraphs about this. I do not shy away from the nuke thing. You apparently only had 1 note about it. I don't know how, considering how strongly you felt about it. I was expecting a big old back and forth here outside of comment response. Yeah. Again, I believe you're wrong about Oberstein lying, but I will get into that later. Do you have any other weigh-in on this particular note? The situation on this note.
And to my last note of this episode, Mirka's defection was not something I expected. Let's see if it pays out.
Yeah, I got a note about that too, but I don't want to move away from this part thing, so I will wait to address that. Reinhardt expresses your opinion that it is clear to everyone that the nobles will lose the war, except that Oberstein points out, and Reinhardt also reluctantly agrees, that they may well be unable to take Geiersberg Fortress if the nobles intend to fight to the last, meaning that more of what happened on Westerland was bound to happen across all the worlds that the nobles exerted their influence. In reality, this segment is just another analogy to the end of the war in the Pacific circa World War II. We got our ethical and moral versus pragmatic argument for this in Gundam Origin, with the argument between Dozelzabi and Ramba Ral. Now here, with Oberstein doing a far better job on the pragmatism side of the argument than Dozel did, and I think Reinhardt may be doing a better job of expressing the wrongness of it than Ramba Ral's outrage did. As I said, I believe Oberstein is in the right here. More people will die and suffer if the war is allowed to be dragged out than would be if this other horrible thing were to happen. Reinhardt's statement that you can't just put this to numbers is fair enough, but prolonged suffering is still a factor on the table for continuance, and that cannot be ignored either.
I mean, here's the thing. The way the issue is, first of all, how they delivered nuclear weapons. I think they sent a fleet, although we don't see a fleet.
It doesn't seem like they sent a fleet. It seems like they just sent, like, I don't know, the intercontinental version of interstellar ballistic missiles. We had a ship there. We have the perspective of the ship, and all we see is the trail lines of the missiles coming in. So,
yeah. But apparently it could have been stopped. So I guess you could have shut them down the missiles,
all we know is that they were going to make the effort. We don't know that it would have been effective. Sometimes I think back to Watchmen, where Dr. Manhattan is even like, I don't know if I can stop all of them.
And if that's the case, if it could be stopped, then you just contain them to. I mean, the one logistical problem is that you would have to station fleets around all the possible targets. If Broadshot decides to keep blowing up planets, like
Legitimately, well,
you
I
know,
mean, if you're talking about different planets, sure, but also
yeah,
logistically around a single planet. I mean, we've seen how these fleets work. It doesn't. It seems almost impossible that they'd be able to shield an entire planet from a number of fast-moving interstellar missiles. Because again, it seems like
eh,
the idea is that they nuke the entirety of Westerland.
yeah.
That it looks like Earth in Space Battleship Yamato, which is to say, fucking gone.
But at the same time, if you can just press the, I guess you can press the attack on the fortress and be done with it. I mean, we don't know. We don't see the fortress itself have that many defenses once it gets
It's got an
attacked.
Iserlon level X-ray thing that will destroy a
Yeah.
fleet coming near it. Plus, they've got enough ships to have a projected fight there. And the idea that they throw out there is that by the time their fleets actually get there, they're at the end of the supply chain, which makes them extremely weakened as well. So that's why they say there's no guarantee that they can take Geiersburg Fortress if they decide to fight to the last, which I have further notes about there too. So the idea is that this war could last forever. As again, the argument before, they don't do the ground invasion stuff yet. They're just taking up space stuff. And God knows, again, more allusions I make later on to World War II, the invasion of Japan could be costlier in human lives than the nuking of Westerland.
25 million, I think there was no 2.5 million.
Sorry, I realized that I
25 million.
conflated two things together. The continuation of the war and the cost of Imperial lives could be more costly than the nuking of Westerland, as per the nuking of Japan being more costly to human lives than the invasion of mainland Japan, was the analogy I was trying to follow with on there.
No.
Again,
I mean,
what I'm saying here at the very end of my note, that there's Reinhardt's pushing that human lives are not just a number to be thrown around, but the same token, human suffering is not something that you can also just equate with numbers. So, extending the human suffering through a protracted ground invasion and whatever is also going to make people suffer for longer, and then, of course, also more people die.
yeah, but also that can also be used to excuse almost anything. Eventually, you do have a slippery slope because at some point it's like, okay, how many? Like it happened in Fate Zero at the end. It's like how many people? How many times you to divide this in order to excuse saving this other group and this other group, and then you keep killing people. It's like, well, yeah, I saved 50,000 people, but I killed another 50,000 people, 100,000 people. It's like at some point you're like,
I think, Lessons, at the end of the day, my argument against the slippery slope is that every situation is its own situation.
true,
If
but
you say that
we're
this
talking
could
about.
be excused to justify anything, then we hit that problem when we hit that problem. The next time I try to use this justification on something, you hit me with that specific situation. Because if it can be used to justify, doesn't mean it can justify. Being something used to justify something doesn't automatically fit every square peg doesn't fit every other square peg.
But it's the mentality that you have to do this because this is better than the alternative. Because that's again, it's a trolley problem. You have to choose
Well, if
either
it's
one or
better
the
than the
other.
alternative, then obviously you choose the one that's better than the alternative. Your argument against it is, again, morally and ethically honest. I understand. I'm not saying anything against that. My next note is literally about how hard it is to watch those people being nuked. I'm not saying. Here's my problem: is I didn't bring this up in my notes, but I did look up what the people who did it were like, not just like the people who authorized the nuking, but like literally the pilots and all that stuff. And I do reference the ground accounts of the people who actually survived in my further notes. But the pilots who dropped the bomb, still like the one who didn't die. Obviously, the other guy died from 2007, I think. They think they were right. They think they were right today. They don't feel bad about doing it at all. So they think that they saved lives. They're going with a pragmatist argument, even though they must know. They must look back and see what the outcome of it was. Because I was like, how many of the people involved must have fucking killed themselves after they saw what happened? No. You'd be fucking surprised how many of these people were like, no, we did the right thing. Because I
I
thought
mean, you
these
can.
people would be like, yeah, we did what we had to do. But, that they would look back at the human suffering involved of what they did. And
I
some
mean,
of these people would have
there's
gone, I don't know what the thing is called, where how many cops kill themselves. that sort of thing. I thought there would be that sort of thing going on with the people involved in the nuking of Japan. No, apparently everybody fucking believes in what they did. Is insane levels of that, but I'm obviously middle of the fence on this. Not on Japan, on Westerland, obviously. That had to be done, but probably would have been gun in the mouth about it because this is horrible. But I do believe it has to be done.
Episode 24, victory but for whose sake? They say victory, comma, for whose sake? I don't understand why Yang would announce that the coup was an imperial plan, since he admits he has no evidence to back up that assertion. The only one that really benefits from this is Trunick.
Lie to make them come out of the woodwork, I guess. I mean, it's not a lie in that it is true, but again, the no evidence thing.
True.
Well, the no evidence thing is that we know it's true from, again, God's perspective. And there's no reason that Yang should know, but I've had that whole argument already. But the fact that we know it's true means that if he has somebody say it out loud, and not for nothing, somebody that was part of the group, that if it is true, he might be able to get them out of the woodwork in saying something. And not for nothing, Dwight didn't even fucking know it was true. So it just caused Lynch to go off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stupid all around. Sorry. We are like paragraphs away from me talking about this, but yes. The element is I also have a note about what the fuck did Lynch even do? And I'm not going to get into that discussion now, obviously, later, but that's the whole point of my thing, is like, I'll leave that on the table because I just said I'm not talking about it. It's certainly a choice to show us the people of Westerland having succeeded against Braunschweig's nephew, planning on what to do next, and considering allying themselves to Reinhardt. Plus, the obvious pull towards emotion by showing the innocence of the children being exposed to the nukes falling. It's a direct expression of exactly how wrong this is on a personal level. You feel more for the people when you can see them or hear them. Again, an analogy of real-world events, and it's hard not to feel when reading about the real-world accounts of the survivors. In the realm of what we do here on the channel, I've watched Barefoot Gen, which is based on the author's real-life recounting of what he and those around him went through after the bomb. Grave of the Fireflies, much the same. I haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies. I'm familiar with the story. I've seen Barefoot Gen. It's a very similar thing. As Oberstein says in his discussion with Reinhardt, allowing the nukes goes towards forcing the hand of the nobles to not fight to the last, which was also the argument that Truman made for the psychological impact the bombs would have in order to avoid an invasion of Japan where a fight to the last man scenario was expected to occur. When considering, again, the long-term suffering of a protracted war versus the psychological impact of something of this nature hastening the end of the war, it is understandable how difficult it is to consider when directly watching the victims caught in between suffering the most.
And these are ostensibly the people that you're trying to save by reforming the empire in the first place, right?
Which is where Reinhardt's difficulty comes from.
Yeah.
But again, Oberstein's point is that these are a portion of the people that you have to save, and that being the leader of an empire means making decisions like this. That this is the thing that you're seeking to do. That you're seeking to improve the lives of everyone, which may, in fact, cause you to ruin the lives of a number of people as well. I hate to say it, obviously, you can't make an omelet without cracking a few eggs.
I mean, but also there's a difference between, one could make the argument, because ultimately lives are lives, that, and that gets you into another slippery slope of the who is deserving and who is undeserving, right? Are innocent people deserving of this level of brutality, where the people who should be deserving of being punished, not necessarily by being nuked, I don't like that noble, so I'm going to nuke the entire planet. That's not what I'm talking about.
It's what do you do to achieve utopia? And again, the idea that utopia for one person could be another person's hell. That the world you're trying to achieve is not the world that everyone wants. And also, it might be impossible to make for everyone. So how do you make the best world for the most people, and what happens to the people that don't want that world? And that's not the argument here. Obviously, this is the argument of what happens to the innocents that fall to the wayside, or are made to suffer as an example. And this is a case of the people that were made to suffer. Again, not by Reinhardt's hand directly. Even if you were to remove Oberstein, right, and say this was Reinhardt's hand, that this is also the hand of Braunschweig, who
Yeah,
is
and
the one
he's
who does this. And the
and
element
the
here
people
is that
follow the
we need to
orders.
show
Yeah.
the world why we cannot keep the nobles in charge. This is what the nobles will do. And I think it's the element that everyone knows what the nobles will do, but they need physical evidence to show this is how bad it will get if we don't remove them. And that's what
I
the
mean,
psychological impact that Oberstein provides Reinhardt's forward force. And not for nothing, it works to plan. Literally, the nobles are killing themselves for how bad this went. Could not have gone better. Now, ironically, I was about to say this was a longer show, and this is a pretty damn long show. If it was like another 40 episodes, I could see us doing a thing where it doesn't work to plan. That Oberstein just fucked up completely. Reinhardt gets exposed. Maybe it happens. I don't know. But the element down the road that if we want to go even more complex, that we could show that it doesn't work either way. But for now, it did prevent a large-scale tearing apart of the Empire and more human suffering.
there's also the question of taking the people to the promised land but never stepping into it. It might be well that the people who have to deliver others to the promised land, to the utopia, they themselves, because of what they have done to get there, are not worthy of living in it, right?
I mean, that doesn't make it an invalid thing to do, though. If you'd have to damn yourself to hell to make sure that everyone else gets into heaven, would that not be worth it?
It may be.
I don't believe that you yourself stepping into heaven is worth not doing the thing. I think a more valid argument would be to get. Sorry, no, I'm trying to think, because that's not the argument we're getting here. We're not arguing is Reinhardt a bad person, because I don't think that's worthy of an argument. Because
I mean, it does have a dark side.
well, it's not. I just said that's not worth an argument. It's not worth the argument because we're discussing the broader implications of what happens to everybody, 25 billion people.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to focus on one specific person. I know it's one specific person that has the most sway over those 25 billion people. However, as we've already indicated with Oberstein, not the most sway. Granted, it's not even Oberstein, it's Braunschweig, once again, as I said. Yeah. Braunschweig does it. Oberstein is just like the gate that could have stopped it. But how many...
I mean, everybody's responsible for their own actions. Braunschweig for ordering, others for carrying it out.
Well, remember, Reinhardt's plan was, I'm going to wait till the 6 hours and then decide what to do, have a fleet ready. So even then, Reinhardt was on the fence. There is the possibility that Reinhardt wouldn't have stopped it. We don't know. Never got to that point.
Never given it a chance yet.
Well, I mean, again, he said, get a fleet ready. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to think about this. And it just happened before he had the chance. Granted, it happened before he had the chance, which means it would have always happened before he had the chance. But again, the argument being is we're never going to cover how many people this would have saved because we'll never know. It's an imaginary number.
Anyway, my next note, and again, I think we already talked about you don't agree with this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. Lynch is just doing it for the lulz, I guess. Or more to the point, I think we discussed it off camera. Lynch essentially was, oh, you fucked me over, you abandoned me to the Empire, well, fuck you then. I'm going to set this fucking place on fire because I got a chance to do that. I don't care about you, your revolution. I don't care about Reinhardt. I only care about fucking you over because I'm a spiteful little bitch.
No, we talked about it on camera. It's not what I was about to say. I cut myself off because you were still talking.
Okay.
No, I mean, I do disagree. Also, I don't think he was being spiteful. Well, he was being spiteful, but he wasn't being that thing that you just described. He wanted to show them they weren't as righteous as they believed themselves to be by orchestrating a whole thing, but that's more the point of the note that I have still coming. But again, I don't want to deviate because I still got more notes about this. Again, I thought you were going to be so much more on the nuke thing than you seem to have been. I think you gave it one paragraph.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a fucking big thing, man. I talked before about plausible deniability. It's up in the air as to whether Oberstein lied about the attack, when the attack would happen, or if the nobles really did attack ahead of schedule. He said the attack would be in 6 hours, but sent the recon craft to watch in 4. Neither thing contradicts what's being said. Reinhardt ordered a fleet to be made ready should he choose to intervene, which he never does, but presumably the order is still on record, that he intended to regardless. If Oberstein did lie and knew the attack would occur before Reinhardt had the chance to intervene, then that would be the plausible deniability. Enough time for Reinhardt to organize a defense, but not enough to do anything to stop it, making the nobles appear that much more evil, and Reinhardt remains just as much a hero as he needs to appear. Steinmetz comes with rumors about Reinhardt's connection, but that's just based on the convenience of the recon ship's video. I mean, it's a recon ship. It would be there ahead of the fleet. That's what recon is.
Yeah. I think the problem with all this is this is a linchpin of lore or world building setting that we get hints of, but we never get spelled out on it. Spelled out. In this series, I know that they do in the remake. It's how fast is travel between the stars and how long does it take? There's a lot of talk about faster, getting to light speed and stuff like that, but the ships simply just go places. Like, oh, it's gonna take this amount of hours, and it's like, but we don't get a sense
I
of
don't
is
think
their
that
fact
matters
faster
to
than
this,
light.
though.
Well, it does because it goes to whether, for example, Reinhardt waiting would have been effective. Like, oh, we have 6 hours. Okay, can you actually make it in six
No, I'm
hours? Right?
saying I don't
It
think it
seems you
matters
could,
to that element because
Yeah.
we know that he says send a ship there. It needs to get there within 4 hours. And we know that it gets there before the attack happens. So that is the time span it takes to get a ship there. So you have your
Apparently.
answer in that extrapolation. That's what I'm saying.
But
It
to
doesn't
mobilize
matter.
the fleet.
I understand the point you're getting at. I'm just saying that we can look at that and say, he said that, it got there in 4 hours. That must be the minimum amount of time. Because assumably the recon ship would be hauling ass.
Yeah.
But my point is that we have no proof that he lied because things play out the same way if you believe he's telling the truth as if you believe he's lying. He says this will happen in 6 hours. He also says they must have ordered it to go faster. Well, if he's telling the truth, that makes sense. If he's lying, obviously you can say that makes sense too. So either way, there's no concrete
you
evidence that
the
he's
fleet
lying.
earlier. If he's lying,
Oh, I'm saying
it
that
worked
you
out
have no
because he lied,
evidence that
but
the nobles didn't order it to go faster. So that could be true. At the same time, if you want Oberstein to be lying, then that works for a lie too. There's no evidence one way or the other that he's lying or not lying. You can make the argument that he's lying. You can make the argument that the nobles did increase their timetable. Both work. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. I mean, ultimately, the truth doesn't matter because it plays out both ways, and ultimately, I think this is just going to go the realm of what becomes public knowledge. So our belief, I believe Oberstein's telling the truth. You believe Oberstein's lying. At the end of the day, our opinions don't matter because we don't exist in the world. What matters is that Steinmetz line about the rumor about Reinhardt's connection.
Yeah.
That's kind of convenient that there was a recon ship there. And again, I think that's just stupid because again, well, of course there would be a recon ship there. We already know it's on record that Reinhardt was preparing a fleet to defend the planet. That has been made public. That is on the record. So recon ships recon. That's in front of the fleet. That is more proof that Reinhardt was going to go there to defend it, if anything.
This is just an opinion of mine. Trunic and the Church of Terra operating openly is rather brazen and stupid.
That's
because
populist.
Kind of defeat the whole. Huh?
It's populist.
It is populist. Populist on the side
Reinhardt
of Trunic.
Reinhardt. Trunic job, as I like to call him, first name basis. Job is nothing if not populist. That's what he plays to. That's all of his speeches. Well, they're horrible speeches, but they do work.
The side of Church of Terra / what we know about Fessin and their machinations.
Hera marching is on the street. Hera is popular.
True, it might be popular. Okay, here's the thing. The reason why you want to keep secret the involvement of, at least keep this Church of Terra involvement secret, from their point of view, it's like, oh, well, we're just here. We don't have nothing to do with this. We just have our own beliefs that so happen to coincide with what Trunic is saying about liberating the Empire and perhaps liberating Terra along Earth alongside of it, of course, because it's on the Earth side, on the Imperial side. But really, we just are, humble believers in, the birthplace of humanity and all that. Thus, keeping a little bit of plausible deniability when it comes to Trunnik's
There's
actions.
no
Because if
reason for
Trunnik goes
Trunnik to
down,
have plausible deniability, though. He doesn't need it. The dude is associated with so much horrible shit, and he's like water off a duck's back. I mean, the semi-public acknowledgement that the Patriotic Knights are kind of associated with him, or were. Those people were beating people down in the streets. What do you think his worry is about the church? Clearly,
yeah.
I think the church
But
is
I think I don't
probably
think from his worry.
supplementing.
He's not
The
from
church
his
is probably
side.
supplementing him with voters that he doesn't have anymore.
I'm not talking about him doing it. I'm talking about on the side of the Church of Terra and the so-called secret plans that Festin and Terra and the
Well,
Church of
this is
Terra
the
have
Church of
to
Terra's
declare.
coming out thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're becoming a thing now, and this is the way for us, the viewer, to get to know them past what we already saw, that minor bit in Gaiden at the very last arc. That they're going to be a force now. Like, I hope, as much as I don't like the Alliance, I'm not siding with the Alliance here, but I hope that the Alliance doesn't turn into a
Dictatorship?
no,
Totalitarian state?
what
Another empire?
theocracy. Sorry, theocracy was the word I was going for.
Theocracy.
That I hope that Job hasn't actually become born again or some shit. It's actually going to push that shit. I hope that Terraism, it doesn't become the state religion, or just hope that we're not going a super religious route, that the Alliance is suddenly going to become a theocracy with worship of Terra at its core, because that would be so fucking weird. I mean, it wouldn't be unbelievable, it'd just be so fucking weird. I wouldn't be interested in watching Yang have to deal with that. I want Yang to deal with more grounded, non-secular shit.
Well, way more secular shit, actually. Not religious. The issue here, I think, it is, first of all, I think it is pretty believable. And also,
Terra
the fact
nationalism.
is that, yeah, well, Terra nationalism.
That's what I said.
It really,
And I mean, we're agreeing with each other. I said it would be believable. I just don't want to see it. That's what I said.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. On that level, we're in the same place. I'm not trying to dig that up to make a 2-hour discussion. What I am saying is, I think I find it interesting because I find the whole, I said this many earlier. I do like, I tend to dislike narratives in sci-fi where Earth just gets cast aside for no reason whatsoever. I mean, there's reasons for it. I just don't like it. It's a personal preference. So having Earth, even though it's in a diminished state politically and psychologically, the people in the universe don't seem, up to this point, don't seem to have cared. But the fact that there's still this connection to the home world, right? And the people identify as humans and Terrans at some level, even though they live in space. I find that interesting, and also the machinations of this church. Like, what exactly are they doing? Now we're seeing that they're, supporting Trunnik politically and giving him votes, right? And what else are they going to do on the imperial side? Are they sending pilgrims and infiltrating the empire and ginning up the
we already seen the Church of Terra exists in the Empire, and they're just fine with it. But they don't have to infiltrate the Empire. They're already in the Empire. For one thing, Earth is on the Empire side. But remember, we saw Kurt Chase, send them some milk. It was just fine. They're just people in the Empire side. Plus, not for nothing, the Gaiden thing, where the Church of Terror people were on that relaxation station, which I think also Braunschweig and them were commenting about.
Yeah.
Or no, the other guys, the blonde hair guy was talking about. We saw them there too. They're just there in the Empire. It's not a infiltration thing. They're just out and about.
Well, I mean, there's the public face of the Church of Terra, and they might be the private face of the public Church of Terra. What are they trying to do?
There is. We saw that one Pheasant.
Exactly. But within the empire itself, not just simply Fessin. What are they trying to do? Will they try to influence the new government, right? And go like, oh, look at the destruction of this planet, and this is the wickedness of the empire. I want to see what happens. I've
already told you, I disagree with your element that Earth is interesting. I always think back to Bester from Babylon 5. As much as they like to think about it, Babylon 5 is not the center of the universe. We moved on from Terra. We've moved on from Earth. That's the whole point of our whole going out into space and doing shit. Earth was interesting for all of human history, and then human history expanded beyond it. Now other places are interesting. And you know what? I'm more interested in the places I don't know about. Tell me more about Heinesen. Tell me more about Odin. Tell me more about Shampoo or any of the other places that we've never seen before.
I don't think they cancel each other out, but sure.
I think they do cancel each other out. You can't have a sense of exploration and stay at home. Not unless you're that one species from Star Trek that lives at the Galactic Center and had a very interesting episode with Barclay, which
No,
are
I
also,
think
I
that's
would legit say, the worst explorers, because you're bringing all the worst stuff back to you. What happens if they encounter the Borg? You're just going to bring the Borg right to them.
I think it's just a pretty say it's a point of commonality and a point of expansion. So I think, I think they, I can certainly
No,
don't have a
legitimately, you
problem with
cannot. You
both.
cannot be Magellan and stay at home.
But you're not staying at home. You're still
You are staying at home
referencing
lessons if you
that
focus on home. You can't have your cake.
need it to.
No, lessons. You can't have your cake. You specifically cannot have cake. We've talked about this. Your doctors, man, they said you cannot have cake. I don't know why I
I
bring
think
it
you
up
can.
now, but we have to talk about this lessons. You can't have cake.
Yeah. I still think
Too
you
much
can.
sugar, man.
I think it. Yeah, I think you can very
No,
much.
I mean,
Anyway,
I think you can't. Obviously, that's why half of Babylon 5 doesn't take place on Earth.
but Earth's still there though.
Is it? I believe there's a show
still
called
important.
Crusade, which has a thing to say about that.
Yeah, but in the original show, I mean, it's so important that we end up with an Earth civil war and going back to Earth to liberate Earth. So yes, you can't have
Oh,
both.
it's weird. It's kind of like half the people in the show are human.
Exactly. That's kind of my point.
I mean, is it though? Because that's what had to happen to make Earth important in that show.
I mean, Earth was always important in that
It
show because
wasn't. It legitimately wasn't important. You know what was important?
starts.
We started hearing more about alien planets that all the people killed themselves on. That was a season 1 plot line, I remember. That gets brought back later on. We went to the planet, we got that thing, that dead civilization. It's like, oh wait, that's that planet from season 1, because that's the brilliance of JMS. But, yeah, no. We go to Centauri more than we go to Earth. Like, legitimately, Earth is not important.
The Earth Minbari War was the whole catalyst for the whole thing in the first place.
Which
So,
we only
yes.
reference, and that's the importance of a character, not because he's on Earth. He's on Babylon 5. And you know what?
Well, the creation of Babylon 5 was based on that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Still doesn't happen on Earth. That is just, hey, Earth was involved. At that point, you might as well say, hey, most of these characters, I think they're from a specific planet, because that's the importance that has to that.
I think it's still what I'm talking advocating for.
The difference between lessons, there's the difference between relevance and importance. You just keep bringing up things that are relevant, not important.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Earth Minbari War
they
is
can be
important
both.
in a storyline that involves 1, an Earthling, and 2, a Minbari. Otherwise, it has no
And the
value
entire
to the
series.
situation at the moment. It doesn't
Actually,
matter where
it's the-
Babylon 5 comes from after
It does.
after in the beginning. It doesn't fucking matter. The point,
That's one of the major questions of why, what happened in the Battle of the Line. So
yeah,
it's
which is a
important.
matter between a character storyline, not the entirety of every human on Earth. Because you know what? That never fucking comes up. Stephen Franklin is not worrying about do humans have Minbari souls. That's not his storyline, despite the fact he's a human from Earth. It doesn't matter
But
to
his
all
storyline
Earthlings.
with his father was that he refused when he was serving with Air Force.
Yes, I know.
on
He
Earth.
refused to give them the information on the biological warfare team. I love in the beginning. Do you not think I don't know the storyline of in the beginning?
Well, there you go.
I specifically remember that. You will. I can't do it to speak verbatim, but when he's in the lab, you will give us all the documents, he said, and then gets sent off. And then later on, he shows up with Jakar on the Minbari expedition, not the Minbari expedition, the expedition to then have the conversation with Minbari about ending the war. Yes, I know. I am saying that does not have a lot to do with Stephen Franklin outside of that very specific thing, though. Stephen Franklin's story is one of abuse and, not abuse, dependence, I guess. Dependence and weaning yourself off of that sort of shit.
Drug addiction and
Well, not specifically drug addiction. He has other addictions. So that's what I'm saying. He is a dependent character who then has to find himself and then goes off. Mars is more important to the story of Babylon 5 than Earth is. Again, relevance does not equal importance. Which is ironic, because I think we've been on the opposite side of this discussion before. Back when I used to talk about how important history... Ironically, I think we flip-flopped at some point. I was talking about how important history was to the show, and you were telling me how irrelevant it was to the story that we were in way back when. I was talking about important stuff that we don't see, because I think this is the argument back during the Bruce Ashby days. Where I was talking about how important the history was, and you were talking about how irrelevant it was. So your Earth-centric talk, for me, is the same as my talk about Bruce Ashby. You're like, that's not fucking important. I was like, it's where we come from.
Well, there you go. Thank you for proving you right. Anyway, next point.
No, it's unfortunately impossible for us both to be right. What was your note?
It was about the Church of Terra and Trinity.
Okay, I was making sure that your note was last, because we've been on for a while.
Yeah.
While I appreciate Meerkat's staying alive, I liked him from the first couple of episodes. His choice to defect is kinda left field. He's so loyal to the dynasty that he'd rather kill himself than surrender, yet could so easily be talked to in defecting. You couldn't get more anti-Goldblum dynasty than the Alliance. At least Reinhardt is of the Empire. The veneer of leading it under the dynasty's rule may have gone away at some point, but it's still the polity that you served and fought for all this time. Switching to the Alliance is literally going to put you in a position to kill the people you once fought alongside of and defended. The very thing you argued with Braunschweig about, to reduce casualties among the military. It just doesn't align with the character that we've been following this whole arc.
I mean, I think he wanted to reduce casualties as long as he thought he could win, but now having lost, and ostensibly in his mind, the Golden Bone dynasty, the thing that he was loyal to, is also gone. He has no choice other than to kill himself or to join the enemy.
Again, he's joining the side that is the most anti-Goldblum.
Well, in his mind, there is no longer Golden Bone dynasty, which is not technically true because there's a.
Again, I'm saying on the sliding scale of gray to black, right, or I guess white to black, or whatever you want your scale to be, that Reinhardt is still closer to what he was than the guys who are literally the opposite completely of what he was. Again, he was going to shoot himself in the head because the Goldblum dynasty, the thing he served for 40 years, is gone. And yet, he's going to join the side that was so anti the thing that he was. Like, again, Reinhardt might be the face of changing times. I still don't understand that, because still, the element that we haven't covered is Erwin is still around.
Yeah.
Erwin is still around. Lichtenlade, we saw him literally drinking when the nuke thing happened. They're still around. There's not been anything to indicate that they've removed the dynasty. The whole thing started because Reinhardt was defending the conservatorship. They never addressed that going away. It's just suddenly Reinhardt's now in charge, I guess.
I mean,
so technically,
he was always in charge. Yeah.
No. Lessons. The idea was that Erwin was still on the throne. The Pharaoh is still in charge despite his age. I'm saying.
Yeah, but he's impotent. He's impotent.
He's not impotent.
Doesn't have a power.
We don't know he's impotent, Lessons. I don't want to know how you know that he's impotent. He's still a child.
I
haven't done the studies, Lessons. I'm not getting into that.
He is a puppet.
It doesn't matter, Lessons. So I'm pointing out is there's still a Goldblum on the throne.
Yeah,
and the element is that Meerkat is literally saying, I would rather go to the people who want to kill the Goldblum dynasty. Because I understand I keep saying Goldblum. I can't get the Jeff Goldblum out of my head thinking that he's casting, man. Make him the emperor.
Yeah.
But he's going for the people who want to literally kill the Golden Bombs, rather than do anything to support the Erwin, who is literally a Golden Bomb. I don't know how you go from suicide is the only way out of this to, well, I don't know, let's just join the enemy.
To my next note then. My second to last note. Yet again, Yan gets used up in another photo op.
Well, I guess he can't recoil or something. His job technically is in charge.
His boss, yeah.
He is the last of the remaining council members because of the previous. He's only here until the next election. And not for nothing, I can't assume that the NSMC thing isn't going to do something to the voter populace. Well, we can't vote for anyone with any ties to the military. Oh, wait, let's re-elect the defense minister. Fucking, these people are going to be so fucking stupid. There's no justifiable way unless everyone does turn fucking super religious. And that's the only way Job is getting out of that.
Well, also the fact of murder of the opposition. I mean, Jessica was part of the opposition.
Yeah, she wasn't the only opposition. What about the other three guys that opposed him on the council who technically were still... I mean, if we're voting people back in, Einsbach says that the Golden Bomb dynasty has fallen, and I guess maybe in respect of a final Golden Bomb ruler, sure, but there are still 5 Golden Bombs left. Christine, Amory, Sabine, Elizabeth, and Erwin. So long as the bloodline remains, the Golden Bomb line can still persist.
I mean, unless basically Reinhard dispenses with the fiction of, oh yeah, this is the Kaiser. He has the real power. No, he doesn't have any power. I'm the guy with the armies. I have the power.
I mean, it doesn't
Fuck
matter at the
this
end of
noise.
the day if you have somebody that's
Yeah.
where you literally endless waltz. This is the representative of the bloodline of a person that I think legitimately this could turn into a situation. I don't know how far down the road we're going to go with this show, but by which I mean timeline wise, that the leadership, the further you get from the actual person being alive, can become mythologized. I think I didn't say that word correct at all, but you know what I mean. To the point where this person's the bloodline, they're the rightful heir. This historic thing that happened, that wasn't right, that I wasn't present for. Let's turn the tide. It didn't take that long for people to change the narrative of what actually happened to what they want to believe happened.
And to my last note, it makes sense to accept a high-level defector like Merkatz. The problem is the timing, especially since Yang just accused the rebel forces of working for the Empire. Not the best optics, to be sure.
Well, he doesn't say that he'll use him immediately.
True. But it is a public defection. It's not like he's hiding it. Like, oh, he defected in secret. No,
we don't know.
Everybody knows they did.
We know that Isolon, the people at Isolon, knows that he's coming through, and apparently it seems like they're on Isolon right now. That's where the defection is happening. If he stays on Isolon, who would know other than a couple 100,000 people? 100 million people.
A couple million, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't mean anything. How many defections happen? It happens quite often, it seems like.
Yeah, but I guess the timing is the issue. He goes like, oh, by the way, this thing that happened was because of the Empire. By the way, here comes the defector of the Empire who's going to join us on my side. It's like, wait, what?
I mean, yeah, you're saying that, though, as though we're not in a 150-year war. The Empire, the Empire is going to be ever-present. I understand what you're saying, Lessons. I'm just saying that the Empire is going to be ever-present. There's got to be so much shit happening that we just don't hear about. Like, how many Empire spies have got to be in the Alliance? It wasn't just Lynch showing up. Yeah, how much, shutdown of, factories or whatnot, Cold War shit that's got to be going on. There's got to be stuff in the news about the Empire, every goddamn day. So, we go from the Westerland massacre being used as a psychological blow that destroys the Lipstadt coalition and unifies an empire, to Yang destroying a couple of satellites to create a psychological blow to the hardliners of the NSMC in order to force their surrender. Of course, with no loss of life required. I imagine the difference in stakes between the two. Reinhardt is playing for the lives of 25 billion people. Yang has to be concerned about the 1 billion being kept on Heinesen.
Yeah. And also the continuation of the war if they reentrench themselves and try to effectively use the defense system against its own fleet, right?
That's not what I was getting into.
I know that Yang did it cleanly and Reinhardt didn't.
Also not what I was getting into. I don't care about that. We already addressed that across multiple paragraphs that you had little thoughts of in your own notes, but I'm talking about the stakes. Reinhardt is playing for 25 times the number of people that Yang is. That Yang consistently has lesser stakes.
I think he's still, I don't know if it's lesser stakes because a continued civil war in the Alliance still runs everybody in the Alliance.
Not to the scale that it does in the Empire. The Empire is nuking itself. Yang has to deal with 4 planetary uprisings, not even planetary uprisings, they took care of that off screen. All he has to deal with is the NSMC holding 1 billion people hostage on the capital world.
Also attacks from the Empire as well.
If you write that down, then sure, Reinhardt also has to deal with attacks from the Alliance.
Not while the Alliance is still in civil war.
Well, then the same thing for you, Lessons. Not while the Empire is. Because the Empire is not attacking the Alliance while it's doing its thing. The Alliance isn't attacking the Empire. So no, he has to worry about the Empire. So Reinhardt has to worry about the Alliance. It's literally an even scale.
It isn't, because we know that the Empire civil war has ended, meaning that if the Alliance civil war side of things continues longer, they are going to be more and more weak.
And the same thing would apply if the Alliance finished its first and then Reinhardt didn't finish theirs in time. Legitimately, your thing applies to both sides because both sides are happening at the same time, Lessons.
Yeah, but the stakes are similar.
Yang does not have to worry about anything that Reinhardt doesn't also have to worry about, except that Reinhardt also has to worry about 25 times more people across the entire Empire. And not for nothing, the people that he has to deal with has ability to fuck with stuff more than Yang's. The people on Yang's side have been shut down from their ability to interact with the other 4 planets, I guess, they had under their wing. All they have the ability to do is affect a planetary defense system to, again, the example I went with was a Scorched Earth from Babylon 5. They could take themselves out if they wanted to. Other than that, they could take out 1 billion people. Versus, again, apparently the nobles in the Empire have the ability to launch fucking nukes at will. So that was a lot more threatening to Reinhardt and a lot more people in the Empire. As I've stated many times over, Reinhardt has so much more on his plate than Yang ever does. Which was the point of this note. You were out of notes, you said, right?
Yes.
It's funny because I think that was my last note for the first episode.
Yes.
It's interesting that we use communication blocking all the time in the fleet battles, but the NSMC can't block the transmission from Bagdash that subverts their entire claim to be doing what's right for the Alliance. I mean, not that it would matter much after what happened. I would have thought the people being on their side would have been tenuous after their list of changes to civilian life. But after their own massacre, I would have to think support outside of their own supporters wouldn't exist at all.
A massacre that then we see that literally collapsed the dome of the stadium that they were in.
You say
I don't know what the
literally.
hell they.
I don't think literally applies because I don't remember that.
Yeah, you see, there's a shot of the stadium, and the dome is cracked, and the places where it's collapsed on itself. I guess the
Nope,
fire
didn't
was
see
so
that.
intense that
The last time I remember
did
seeing the
that.
stadium was the end of the episode where the massacre happened.
No, they show it in this episode.
Again, you're saying no as though I'm disagreeing with you on a factual basis. All I'm saying is
Yeah,
I didn't
you don't
see it.
remember. Yeah.
You don't see the things you don't see. The thing that makes the least sense about Lynch coming out to everyone as a part of the Empire's plan to make this whole coup work is the element that we never saw how any of this came together. All we know is that Lynch sat in the back of a room while drinking, while other people gathered together and discussed what to do. Even after the takeover, he just sat in the room. He had no rank, got written out of his own family. What would he have possibly done? Greenhill led this whole thing. What could have been on the paper that Lynch showed him? We never saw Lynch whispering into Greenhill's ear or telling him what to do. What influence would Lynch have had over him to make this entire thing possible? You'd have to think of Lynch as some sort of puppet master to make believe that all of this was due to him following Reinhardt's instructions. And I just cannot see it.
I think the most I can give Lynch is he's the one who brought people together. That's why he was in that meeting. But that's about it.
And then how would that work? Like, Lynch was literally, if you think he's so discredited as he possibly could be, then how did he bring anyone together? Like, legitimately, there should be a whole guidance series just of Lynch. Lynch is like getting captured, his time in the prison, then getting met with Reinhardt, and then being sent back, and Lynch rising to power again. Like, this is I would put Napoleon Bonaparte in Lynch's position. Oh, men of the 13th Fleet. This is, what the fuck would Lynch do? He does not have the charisma. He's a broken man. Who is he getting the side? Is he, again, you have to think of him as like a puppet master, which I do not see from Lynch. Plus, he's drinking all the time since we start seeing him. So imagine he's doing everything you think he's doing, drunk.
Yeah.
So again, what did he possibly show Greenhill? Like, the script, I guess. Then Greenhill takes over the fucking script of the show. What?
Yeah, I'm in a show. I'm a cartoon. What the fuck?
Well, he literally looks at it and then he's like shocked.
Right,
he's like shocked. It's like, but Lynch was. What could Lynch have done? Because Lynch wasn't in charge. So here's Reinhardt's list of instructions, and then gets Dwight to read this page. What?
Yeah.
Oh wait, something down here about you shoot me in the head. Well, don't take that back.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck could have been on the paper. And Lynch did fucking nothing. You guys maybe like outside the ballpark here on this one, but what if on the paper was just Lynch takes credit for everything Dwight does and makes it look like the Empire was responsible? Yeah, and he just shows him that and it's like, oh fuck. Like, because that would make Yang the bad guy. I mean, obviously not because of the whole massacre thing, but it would make Yang like wrong, but causing the thing to begin with. He has no evidence. Lynch did fucking nothing. But all Lynch has to do at this point is, yeah, actually, it turns out I was an Empire agent, and that's why Lynch is like, goes Joker at the end. It's like, ha ha, this is what I needed to happen. Now, everyone will believe me when I say that I'm actually an Empire plant. And then Dwight's like, fuck. That's exactly what everyone's going to believe. We've burned out everyone's trust in us. Mm-hmm. All they need is an excuse, and that's the excuse. So, in that presentation, Yang played into Reinhardt's hands.
Yeah.
The real puppet master. I mean, that's the only way I can see that working out, because legitimately, Lynch just fuck all. But all you need is somebody on that side that has a tie to the Empire, and Lynch is the only one that's been arrested and let go for no reason. He's literally another Offerson? Offlesser. He's another Offlesser. We took your guy in, and we just let him go. Wonder why that happened. Maybe that's why they showed us Offlesser.
Yeah, what happens when? Well, yeah, but also the cruelty of the nobles. Like, oh yeah, you survived. Well, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but it played both ways. The element of, hey, this other thing that we set up is exactly like this thing,
so people can believe you.
I'm going to choose to make that's going to be my headcanon for this, because I don't see how it works any other way. Multiple times they indicate that the ice is moving at near light speed. If that was true, then that's just the ultimate weapon against unmoving targets. I mean, Isolon could be wiped out by this. Watch any number of physics videos on YouTube that simulate shit getting hit at light speed. That's the real detractor from the Gaiden debate of building a fleet versus a fortress. Build something that can move every day of the week, hands down.
I mean, we don't know how powerful the Thor hammer would be against such an attack.
It wouldn't matter. Moving at light speed, you'd never see it coming.
Near light speed, not
near light speed. It's still not enough time to see it coming.
I mean, they did detect the attack. It's just that they were not able, and they did attack. They actually responded to it. They detected
the fact that they say near light speed. They don't say a percentage of light speed. Like, I would say like 4% light speed probably would do the same amount of damage. Near light speed. When you talk about near light speed, you're talking 80% and up. That's legitimately trying to turn around and see yourself move in a camera. It's like,
okay, but it's what we see on screen is they did detect the attack. The things did fire on the rock.
They didn't detect the attack. They detected that the necklace was destroyed. They don't report about we're being attacked. They report about the after effect of the attack. They attacked us with ice at near light speed.
Yeah, the necklaces actually responded to the attack. Fired the beams.
No, they didn't.
Ice. They did.
They did not. Lessons. We're again not going to have a 10-minute discussion about. Yeah, literally, that's all it's going to be. You're not going to have any evidence. Unless you have pre-planned a screenshot that you're going to show me in the next minute, not going to happen.
It's going to take longer.
Yeah, I was going to say, then it's not going to happen, because then it's just going to turn in, yes, it did, no, it didn't. I guess comment section if you want. I don't care. I believe it didn't happen, because I very specifically remember the shot of the thing hitting it, which is weird.
Oh, yeah, it happens after, yeah.
It can't happen after. It's destroyed the moment it gets hit. But I would also say Lessons, that what's shown on screen is not the effect of something being hit by a near light speed impact. That is a very relativistic impact, because it kind of hits it and you see it shatter across it before it gets destroyed, which would not happen at light speed or near light speed.
The defenses managed to fire their beams and missiles at them, but sure.
No, it did not happen. Also, that wouldn't happen anyway. At near light speed, you would not fire missiles. You wouldn't have the opportunity. You wouldn't have the opportunity to load the damn things. Like, the thing... What you just said makes no goddamn sense, so I'm just discounting your opinion completely now. And the point I was getting at, that's not what happened. It's not what happened, Les. You're remembering some other goddamn scene.
Okay. Comments below.
Or above, or wherever. Because you don't know. YouTube has changed where the comment section has been multiple times. It's like, if you're watching 10 years from now, one, prayer for me. I'm probably in hell. But, two, my main point, before you derailed us as you always do, is that, yes, because I was talking about the thing of things moving near light speed, as I did literally during the reaction, that Isolon can be taken out by these things.
Oh yeah.
Forgetting for the moment what you imagined while you were asleep, apparently watching the episode, that, well, think about it, Lessons. How would something moving near light speed even be reacted to? You would not know it was happening. That's the Picard maneuver, you jackass. Picard maneuver
Again.
works because you see the thing, and then your ship is actually here, but you're still seeing the light from over here.
I mean, I didn't draw it that way. They did.
Because it didn't happen?
Yeah, it did.
God, you're killing me. Killing me, Holmes.
Oh, well.
The point is
The point is
that's
I
why
can't
that
go
would
back
work.
to-
That's why that
Yeah.
would work against Isilon, is that you couldn't react to it, and plus the impact would cause such a mass release explosion. I mean, granted, you would need a lot because Isilon is a quarter the size of the moon. Because again, it's half of the Death Star, which Death Star is like half the size of the moon, so a quarter size of the moon. But still, you would just be blowing holes through Isilon.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain went to a blowing them joke, and then those horrors that we saw in Isilon, and I was just trying to make a connection there and make it funny, and I thought, instead of wasting time, it'd just be easier to explain the joke, and then everyone would get what I was going for, and you'd come up with their own jokes. Post your own jokes of getting blown down below in the comment section. Will be way more interesting to read than whatever you have to say about Lessons thing. By the way, I want to point out this is in the same recording as my very serious analog about World War II Japan and the nukes. This is what happens, Lessons, when we take so long on two very important episodes back to back. You have a very serious conversation about nukes and the use of psychological warfare and blowing people.
Yes.
Oh god, there's another joke in there that I really shouldn't make. My last note.
Yes.
There are a lot of scenes that are alluded to or shown from a single frame that I feel like should have spent more time with. Like Gaiden could have given us some more of the Green Hill family development, or this arc could have shown the takeover of the NSMC. By the NSMC of the HQ, instead of a single shot of them shooting people in the back going down a hallway.
Yeah.
Because that really needs to be explained. We're the good guys, but I'm going to shoot this guy in the back who's just carrying paperwork.
Yeah, this motherfucker just died. It's like, poor fucker just got shot in the back.
And with Greenhill just strolling down the middle of the hallway, it's like, how is Greenhill the good guy? And he's just like, yeah, that guy. That's valuable paperwork. Shoot him.
Yeah.
He's trying to file the paperwork necessary to stop our takeover. Stop him.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Those scenes need to be explained. All right.
A very much fuck that guy in particular kind of shot.
As I said, though, we do have comments.
Uh-huh.
A Humpier Rogue from the Patreon from the episode Before the Storm. This is really the episode where the show has its sort of second beginning, in my opinion. At this point, the Reinhardt and Yang command groups with their subordinates, admirals/officers are firmly established. We now have a base for Yang and a staff that will stay consistent instead of constantly flopping about on ships, with only Frederica being a constant. Now he has a whole crew, and Julian is officially on standby. Meanwhile, we've also introduced almost all the admirals on Reinhardt's bench. This is really when things start to solidify, in my opinion, and also when the quality of the show skyrockets in terms of characters and stories and feeling less like just a chronicle of events.
Like a Legend of Galactic Heroes.
All right, well, all that said then. Next up, from Canaris4 from the Patreon, from the Battle of Doria Star Zone and RE Cephalparticles. Cephalparticles themselves aren't a new technology. What was new, and that Kirchheis only had, were directional cephalparticles. Or in other words, guns that shoot cephalparticles. Everyone has cephal grenades, or a briefcase filled with cephalparticles, which Theta ended up referencing. Directional cephalparticles have the advantage of not getting any cephalparticles on yourself when you use them, so it becomes a situation of they shoot, they die, instead of they shoot, we all die, them and us included. I always figured Jessica would marry Reinhardt, since I assumed she was the girl in the opening. One thing would lead to another, and Job would say, if you hate our freedom so much, why don't you go live in the Empire?
That didn't work out. And I doubt very much Jessica would just defect to the Empire. Oh, yeah, I'm against tyranny. We had the whole conversation with Murkats, but I'm against tyranny so much, I'm going to join the tyrants over the Empire.
Why not? She's trying to change the Alliance from the inside. Why not try to change the Empire from the inside?
Because I don't think she's interested in the Empire. She's interested in the Alliance. That's her country.
That's your only note about that last sentence?
Well, and there's a whole SFR article. I read the note before.
No, I said
so
the
yeah,
last sentence. I didn't say the whole paragraph. I said the last sentence.
Also, marrying Reinhard. Why? All the people.
Because
why?
this person assumed that she was the girl in the opening.
But it isn't. It's
Also,
his
why are
sister,
you
right?
saying why of all people? Why
Yeah.
not of all people? You could do worse than
Yeah.
Reinhardt. You could do 24,999,999,999 people worse than Reinhardt.
But we know that it's that she's not Jessica. She's what's her name?
Well, she is Jessica because Jessica is the person we're talking about.
No, in the intro.
Well, yes, obviously, the Canaris 4 is talking in the past tense. I assumed being past tense word of assume.
The person that okay, so the intro is all Empire.
Okay, lessons.
The outro.
Okay, I always figured Jessica would marry Reinhardt since I assumed that she was the girl in the opening.
Well,
I always figured. Also a past tense comment.
Yes.
Assumed past tense. Meaning they're telling you, hey, funny thing, I thought Jessica would marry Reinhardt because of these previous assumptions that I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that that girl is Anna Rose doesn't mean anything to the statement, lessons.
Actually, there's two girls in the intro. There's Anna Rose and
lessons is girl blind. There's more than two girls in the intro. Well, there's Frederica. There's also a little girl because you apparently don't see children either. You monster.
That's in the outro.
No, they're also in the intro.
Of Gaiden or there's no little girl in the intro.
Oh, if we're opening it up to everything, then yes, in anime, much anime has children in the intro. In fact, most of the main characters of anime are children.
Yes.
You have to go outside of the specific zone to find like Gate or any anime that has retirement in the name.
Anyway,
there are anime retirement. Usually, it's a retired adventurer who does a thing, or sorry, there's a Demon Lord one. Demon Lord tries to bring back the retired hero because the Demon Lord is bored or something. And of course, there's the uncle. Anyone with uncle is also like Isekai uncle. I can't remember the full name of that one.
Yeah. And anywho, I don't recall any little girls in the opening. In the outro, yeah, there's the whole family. There's on the honest side, but no, yeah. Is that it? That all the comments?
That is the comments. I'm assuming you have any more things you want to say about past and present tense, or who actually is not in the intro.
I'll be looking at the intro to see if whatever it is that.
Not me. I'll be closing my eyes.
Why?
Point of discussion.
Everything else.
Point of debate. Well, literally, if you just keep telling me things I don't see, clearly we've established through long arguments in the past that if I just don't see them, then I can't tell if they're true or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, nothing left to do but to hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Without legends in it.
I don't know. Seems like the typical opening to me.
Oh.
I'm seeing a galaxy. I'm seeing like a couple of guys.
Yeah, not yet.
No, it's like two guys, right?
Yes,
and then some faces. Looking to camera.
Nope, we have ships right now.
Actually, I'm seeing two kids running through a field of grass.
And that would be Gaiden.
And a red ship in the sky kind of looks like a heart.
Not really.
And a girl with blonde hair.
That would be well, we do see some kids when they turn into kids.
There's a guy with a whip. Looks like it's made of electricity.
What are you talking about?
People flying through the air on swords?
Okay, that's a completely different show.
I think my eyes may have been burnt in with the last images that they saw.
Yes.
You get the same.
That's what happened.
Same resolution as a CRT. Same refresh rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bunch of people just looking at the camera, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you experience the world at 20 frames a second, huh?
24.
24.
You learn that if you watch JJK. Look, I opened my eyes and there's a woman.
But not a little girl.
She once was a little girl.
They always are.
I'm gonna add that to your previous quote.
Yes. We are with the Empire now. Back to the war.
全領土の制圧を終えたジークフリード・キルヒアイスの別動隊はリップシュタット連合軍を壊滅させたラインハルトの本隊が進駐するガイエスブルグ要塞において合流しようとしていた。
Almost seemed like it wouldn't fit.
I guess it's the same class as Reinhardt's, but red. Right? Because it was supposed to be the new class of ships.
No, Reinhardt's more advanced, I think. Or at least it was when he got it. I don't know if technology's moving or not.
キルヒアイスご苦労だった
Well, he looks different.
No, remember
shot.
he heard about the rumor and he got to talk about him first.
帝国の武勲は巨大すぎますな
Well, I saw that episode of Doctor Who.
市場は禁物なのだもんな
I can end your career in 4 words, said Doctor Who.
疲れただろうまあ座れワインとコーヒーどちらにする姉上のケーキでもあれば良いのだがな前線では贅沢
But the onion cake?
ラインハルト様
Yeah.
お話
That was onion pie.
なんだ惑星ベスターラントで200万の住民が虐殺された件ですそれがどうしたラインハルト様がその計画を知りながら戦略的な理由で黙認したと申す者がおります
Are you gonna come at me with everything everyone says about me?
事実でしょうか
You haven't done that in the past. People said a lot of evil shit about me.
ラインハルト様私はラインハルト様が派遣をお求めになるのは現在の帝国ゴールデンバーム王朝に存在し得ない公正さによってこそ意味があると考えておりましたそんなことは言われるまでもない大貴族たちが500年にも及ぶ不当な特権のツケを払って滅亡するのはいわば歴史の必然そこに流血が伴うのも致し方ないことでしょうですが民衆を犠牲になさってはいけませんラインハルト様がお作りになるべき新しい体制は今まで不当に抑圧されてきた民衆を解放しそれを基盤として確立されるのですその民衆を犠牲になさるのはご自分の足元を掘り崩すようなものではありませんか分かっていると言っただろう
Which is what I said.
It doesn't matter, though. Not the argument. Well, I guess I am saying the argument doesn't matter. He's taking acceptance for having done the thing that he didn't do.
いかなる手段をお使いになっても恥じることはないでしょう。しかし、民衆を犠牲になされば手は血に汚れ、どのように正当
Because he agreed that he allowed that to happen for political reasons, and he didn't do that. Oh, so you blood on your hands? You see the visual metaphor we got going on?
お説教はたくさんだ。第一キルヒアイス、この件に関して俺がいつお前に意見を求めた。いつお前に意見を求めたと聞いている。いえ、お求めになっていません。そうだろう。お前は俺が求めた時に意見を言えばいいんだ。済んだことだ。もう言うな。ですがラインハルト様、政略のために民衆の犠牲を厭わないというのでは、あのルドルフ・フォン・ゴールデンバームと何ら変わるところがないではありませんか。
I didn't fire the fucking missile.
はい。お前は一体俺の何だ。
Well, shit.
私は閣下の忠実な部下です。ローエングラム公。
Well, whole change of dynamic now.
Yeah, Kirchhoff is not going to live for long.
I mean, between this and the ruler shouldn't have feelings or whatever
Feelings,
that got
yeah.
whispered into Oberstein's ear. Do we need to flashback to
Oberstein
this?
says it.
How long was the shot supposed to be from the last one?
お待ちください、閣下。いっそ血迷ったブラウンシュバイクにこの残虐な攻撃を実行させるべきです。
何？
そしてそのありさまを撮影して大貴族どもの非人道性の証とすれば彼らの
Again, the element is that Oberstein is the one responsible, if we believe that he's not lying, of course. But Reinhardt's taking authority over it as though he had done it himself, which is why the argument between him and Kerchise happens. Yeah, I can talk over this part because we saw this 2 episodes ago. Again, I still side with Oberstein. As per my entire note section, yeah, but you had no notes about it, Lessons. You have literally not thought about it as hard as I have.
閣下、ご冷静にお考えください。いかに200万の人命とはいえ、この内戦が長引けばそれよりはるかに多くの死者が出るでしょう。それをお考えください。
And then Reinhardt acknowledges that it's true.
閣下は支配者となられるのです。支配者は時としてより多くの幸福のため、一部の犠牲を容認する必要に迫られる時があります。閣下、今こそそのご決断を。全帝国250億の民のためです。閣下。
Again, I don't know why we're having a whole clip of this. It was a very important scene back when it happened, which was like less than an hour ago if you were watching this all back to back.
Yes, what would Kerchise?
お前がいたら絶対に許すまいな。これが俺たちが選んだ道か。
Again, that's why you brought Oberstein on, to make the decisions that Kerchise wouldn't, or couldn't.
これはどういうことだ?
Are we just gonna flash back to the whole episode?
残念ながら派遣した艦隊は間に合いませんでした。
何? ではこの映像は何だ?
念のために先行させておきました。
Yeah, I legit spent an hour like rewatching this whole episode, taking. That's why I had so many notes on that episode specifically.
帝国全土に流すのです。貴族どもと我々とどちらに正義があるか、子供でも理解するでしょう。貴族どもは自分で自分の首を絞めたのです。どうなさいました、元帥閣下。
Yeah, it basically ended the battle in like a week instead of more like years or whatever.
しかし敵の攻撃が早く間に合わなかった。そういうことです。
貴様、わざと。
今さら済んでしまったことをとやかく言っても仕方ありますまい。起こってしまったことは最大に利用すべきです。200万の犠牲を無駄にせぬためにも。
キルヒアイスも分かってくれても良さそうなものなのに。ラインハルト様ならいずれ分かってくださる。そうですよね。
It almost feels like the photograph picture is better resolution than the show. What's this strange alien language she said?
あなたにとって最も大切なものが何であるか、いつも忘れないようにしてください。
It looks like in this episode they did change the style a little bit.
I don't know. Like this shot looks normal.
Yeah, but the other ones don't.
You're our only hope. So it's like they understood what SIM cards would be.
Oh, she knows you. She knows that you can be. You have a dark side.
She remembers the kid that bashed other kids' heads in with rocks. So yeah. You're fired.
フロイライン・マリンドルフからの手紙だ。
ローエングラム公、勝利の方を帝国宰相たるリヒテンラーデ公爵閣下は国政全般を統括なさる一方で、オーディンに残った貴族たちの間を熱心に動き回っておられます。どうやら遠大な計画を持っておいでのようですわ。
Well, I said that a long time ago. How do you just trust Lichtenlade back there to do everything?
早速我らが邪魔に思えてきたというわけですな。
フルダヌキメが私の背中を撃つ準備に忙しいと見える。オーベルシュタイン。
I mean, it could be that he actually is in support of Erwin and not you.
Kは一足先にオーディンに立ち戻り、後輩の敵に備えよ。
御意、それはよろしいのですが、一つ申し上げたき義がございます。
何か。
キルヒアイス上級大将のことです。
また私がキルヒアイスを重用しすぎるということか。
さようです。先ほどのように他の将兵の前で特別扱いをなさるのは望ましくないと申し上げたはずです。
To be fair, he's been saying the same thing for a long time.
キルヒアイスは私自身も同様だと。たとえ全宇宙が私の敵になろうとも、キルヒアイスは私に味方するだろう。実際今までずっとそうだった。だから私も彼に報いてきたのだ。そのどこが悪いのだ。
閣下、私は何もキルヒアイス提督を粛清しろとか追放しろとか申し上げているのではありません。ロイエンタール、ミッターマイヤーらと同列に置き、部下の一員として待遇されるように。
Again, I'm with Oberstein on other things.
組織にナンバー2は必要ありません。部下の忠誠
Except for Oberstein.
大体の聞くものであってはならないのです。
Oberstein is lesser ranked than the people he's talking about getting promotions, so.
わかった。もういい。くどくど言うな。
Conceivably, Oberstein would think that other people are having these same conversations with him too, so.
Yeah, Oberstein, what he wants is just to have Reinhard be the new Kaiser, and that's it. He doesn't really want to change
not
the
Kaiser,
empire.
just the new leader, which, you know, he's aiming to be anyways. I think Oberstein's aiming for equality amongst the people. And that, you know, Mittenmeyer and Ruenthal here should be treated the same as Kirchheis because they're just as good as Kirchheis is. But they're not his childhood friends, so they're not being treated the same as Kirchheis is.
I mean, he wants to reform the empire.
See, there you go.
As a
Some merit to it.
totality.
理屈に合わないからといって無理に改めることはあるまい。ことにそれが人間同士の関係ならばな。俺の勝ちだな。ジャックの4カード。明日のワインは K のおごりだぞ。俺も4カード。クイーンとジョーカーのな。
Always they do this.
I saw 2 Jokers. I guess Jokers are wild?
Apparently, yeah.
But that would mean he has 5 of a kind. I saw 3 queens. I mean, maybe it's going to come back in the notes. I'm going to refer to this, but again, I saw 3 queens and 2 jokers. Ace of spades. Not a good omen. Well, to be fair, on its own doesn't have any specific meaning.
失礼ですが、会場内に武器をお持ち込みになりませぬよう、こちらでお預かりいたします。私はキルヒアイス上級大将だが、これまで私だけは銃を帯びていても構わなかったはずだ。
Well, this doesn't bode well.
申し訳ありませんが、一切の例外を認めないとのご命令があります。いや、いいんだ。わかった。
Somebody's gonna die.
Well, there's only one person here being visibly disarmed. Although it doesn't seem like any of these guys are armed either, so.
Ginga 帝国軍最高司令官ラインハルト・フォン・ローエングラム公爵閣下ご入来。
I don't know, maybe Oberstein's role is advisor.
捕虜の引見を始める。
In which case, he is technically the number 2 by establishment, not by...
Yeah. He has access to power that the others don't have.
Well, I just mean, yeah, Kirchheis is an admiral of the fleet, whereas Oberstein has literally been the second in command to a number of people. I mean, if they do advance the art style as the time goes by, I just hope they get rid of the glass eye effect, because that is the weirdest thing. What murderers do to dolls after they kill somebody. Yeah, I thought he was going to break something. But smashing the keys of the piano
Yeah.
is also classic. Are we going to go back to
Oh,
see
that
him
scene
bashing
when-
again?
when- yeah.
This is the flashback episode.
Yeah.
Granted, this one wasn't from an hour ago. Again, if we were watching everything back to back, this would be like 4 hours ago? Probably more than that.
まるでお祭り騒ぎじゃないか。あの人たちの身内は戦争なんかに行かないよ。上級貴族だもの。つまり、他人の痛みなんか知ったことじゃないっていうわけだ。
Frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn.
力だ。え？力が欲しい。ラインハルト。姉さんを取り返すには、あんなくだらない奴らの言うことを黙って聞かなくても済むだけの力がいるんだ。相手
But what is his real
貴
motivation?
族をしのぐ力を。相手が皇帝なら皇帝よ。あんな奴ら。あいつらは人を何だと思っているんだ。
Remember that we're like close to 80 episodes in by this point.
Yeah.
We know what his motivation
人
is.
から奪うことも人を踏みつけることも自分たちには許された特権だとでも言うのか。あいつらは腐りきってる。この帝国は腐りきっている。ラインハルト様。
But remember, even if you blame him for using that nuke the way he did, that's not him using his privilege. It's literally Braunschweig using his privilege.
It's the part of whether or not he could have stopped it and decided not to let it happen.
ゴールデンバウム王朝は人類の発生とともに存在したわけじゃない。あのルドルフが作ってからたかだか500年だ。ええ。その前は皇帝
Again, he already has the out. I don't know why he's like taking acceptance for having allowed it to happen.
もともとルドルフは成り上がりの野心家に過ぎなかった。それが時流に乗って神聖不可侵の皇帝
I mean, that's true with all people who rise to power eventually. So you got to start from something, you know. Somebody else was the ruler, and now you're the ruler, right?
俺に不可能だと思うか。大丈夫。誰もいない。ラインハルト様、そのようなことを口にされては大丈夫だ。キルヒアイス、お前だけだ。どうだ。不可能
Are we supposed to be getting from this that Kerchase is a weakness?
この人なら。
Maybe.
一緒に来い。
Well, I mean, we're flashing back to this scene specifically for some reason.
Or how we got here, basically. But we know that because we've seen it.
Yeah, we'd have to flash back to a lot more than this.
そして
And I don't think they have access to that because that's from Gaiden, so it hasn't been drawn
キル
yet.
ヒアイス。はい。俺たちのやり方はそれとは違う。そうだな。はい。悔しいさ。決まっている。ティアマとアスターテ。そしてこのアムリッツァ。なぜ奴はいつも俺が完全に勝とうとするときに現れて邪魔をするのか。彼には彼の不満がありましょう。なぜ自分は事の最初からローエングラム伯と対局できないのかと。
Does he though?
ラインハルト様は前面にヤン提督、後輩に門閥貴族と2つの強敵を抱えておいでです。この上部下の中にまで敵をお作りになりますな。わかった。俺が間違っていた。ありがとうございます。いや、礼を言わねばならないのは俺の方だ。よく言ってくれた、キルヒアイス。
Again, the problem here is that Reinhard has said some things that in a more domestic show be awkward. Two characters are awkwardly can't talk to each other anymore. But now he layered on top of the whole military nobility galactic warfare thing.
今までの11年間ずっとそうだったではないか。今まではファーレンハイトか。久しいな。アスターテ海戦以来ではないか。
御意。
ブラウンシュバイク港などに組みしたのは軽らしくない失敗であったな。どうだ。以後あの時のように私に従って武人としての生を全うしないか。
私は帝国の軍人です。閣下が帝国の軍権を握られた上は慎んで従いましょう。いささか遠回りしたような気がしますが、これからそれを取り戻して。
On one hand,
よかろう。
I don't know if I do this, but on the other hand, that makes sense. I follow who's in charge. Braunschweig was the real leader, so now that he's dead, Well, everyone seemed to enjoy that.
Yeah.
You can tell by
he
the
being
open mouth
lenient.
smiles.
Yeah.
I thought to say, and now go into the box with you.
Is he?
主君の遺体とは結構な手土産だな。
Remember they said after they poisoned him, take
Yeah.
him to the medical bay. This is where I put all the candy.
ロエングラム君、我が主君の仇取らせていい。
Wow, this is surprisingly quick. And that's why we're only watching one episode today.
Yeah. What the
What a
fuck?
fucking cliffhanger. Well, that explains why he
Yeah.
had him taken to the place. I thought they were going to make sure he was dead, because they did the same thing
Mhm.
last time somebody died.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I thought he was going to do some long-term revenge plot or something, not just like immediately show up. Also, not for nothing, the second time they didn't check a medical bed?
Yeah.
Legitimately, when they lost Isolon Fortress, remember there was just all those weapons he was laying on top of. I guess we don't scan dead bodies, or the containers dead bodies come in.
I think the only thing I see if Reinhard survived it is if somebody takes a shot and it's going to be
Kirchheis jumps in front, yeah.
and dies.
Well, I mean, it's either that or just Reinhard ducks behind the throne.
Yeah.
How many desks and tables saved Hitler, right? I don't believe anyone ever jumped in front of a thing for Hitler. Hitler just got saved by
That looks
furniture.
like a rocket launcher, though.
It was. I think
I mean,
it was. It was an RPG.
The fuck?
Dude came prepared. I mean, honestly, I didn't think he was going to be honest with his thing. He legit says, "Okay, I will avenge you, Braunschweig. Now drink the fucking poison."
Yeah.
Dude went through with it. Do remember pause.
Yeah.
What a
Goddamn.
fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
The show's not known for action cliffhangers, so
No.
why does nobody else what the fuck is he reaching into the corpse for?
Yeah.
They just stood there like that, and I thought, oh, this is just a thing that's happening, because apparently no one's reacting to it, so here, let me prove he's dead by pulling all of his organs out. What are we
Yeah.
doing?
Eh.
And then just, as you do, hidden RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Include that in your next sci-fi game that you're doing.
Yeah, surprise RPG.
Well, yeah, I mean, just, everyone always tense at a funeral, so... But everyone's
Yeah.
always, for some reason, slightly respectable, so they don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Also, keep your weapons outside was on what's his name? On something. It's not Ansberg. Anschweig doesn't sound right either. It takes forever to scroll through my timeline of events.
But I don't think it's possible for Kirchheis to move fast enough to take that rocket hit, though.
You would think not, but this is, at the end of the day, an anime.
Yeah.
Damn it, he's not in my notes about the characters from last episode. It's like Anschweig or something. Ansbach. No, it's not right either.
No, Ansbach is went with.
It is Ansbach. It is
Mercats.
literally Ansbach.
Oh, it is Ansbach?
That is
Oh.
Ansbach. Though Ansbach is the one that made the thing to, I will get revenge for you, but drink the poison.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I said I thought it was going to be a longer term revenge plan than just...
Apparently not. God damn.
I mean, not for nothing. My boy Oberstein is also just right fucking there. I realize that everyone else is in a line, but presumably, even if it hit Reinhardt, my boy's right here.
You think he's going to take the hit for him?
Oberstein? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Oberstein ran
Oh.
from Iserlohn.
Yeah.
My boy's all about survival. Again,
This is the
many differences between him and Kirchheis.
Yeah. This being episode, what, 20... 26? Yeah.
Super early to lose Kirchheis. That's the case.
Yeah.
And this isn't
Depends
the
on
kind
the
of show where
flashbacks.
someone's going to pull out a gun and shoot the rocket.
The rocket out of
But again,
sky,
nobody
yeah.
has a gun.
Yeah. Although, I mean, maybe that's the reason for all the flashbacks. It's like, oh, this is Kerchai's death flags, right?
I guess that would explain the flashbacks, yes. I just don't know what to say about it. Obviously, the only thing to do is to watch the follow-through, which a week from now, because we're not watching the second episode today. The ironically, one of the few times that we've decided we're just going to do one today is going to be the one with the epic cliffhanger. Because usually it's like, well, see what happens with this development, reacts with all the other developments. Not like, literally, pulls a gun to head. We'll see what happens next time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, then. That's it.
I would say it's almost the most worthless of episodes, because it was mostly flashback, with the biggest ending.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, all that remains to be seen then, once again, is that I've been Theta, this has been Lessons, we've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?